Welcome back to Azzadous Studios. Today we're going to skip Sound Design Sunday and carry on with our mixing series. If you like this video, please remember to like and share, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to keep up to date with future videos. Thanks for watching. Okay, so now we've got our volumes at quite a nice level. What we're going to do is take a look at separating the tracks a little bit more than just as panning with EQ and compression. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at the drum track. And I'm just going to bring in a Pro Q2. So I'm going to cut the very lows out of this. What I'm going to do now is I want to sidechain the bass a little bit from the kick. I have already done quite a bit of sidechaining in the other project as I was building the track, but just to give it a little bit more separation, I want to sidechain it again. Now, because I've got the other track available, I can go grab the kick, bring it in here and use that as the sidechain, which is going to make it a lot easier than just trying to type in a whole trigger channel. Okay, so I jumped over to the other project and grabbed the kick track and the snare track. I bounced them down to audio and imported them into this project. Now, we don't want to hear these because it's going to phase out the kick and the snare in the drum bus. So what we're going to do is switch them off, the channels off. We can still use them as a sidechain trigger when they're switched off. So what we're going to do is go over to our bass and we're going to grab a compressor, Live 8 compressor as usual. And I'm going to grab sidechain on, audio from the kick track. I'm going to take the look ahead to 10 milliseconds, bring the ratio up to about 2, just over for now. We'll tweak that in a second. I'm going to solo the bass. So if I really overdo it, it's really ducking out of the way. So I'm getting a few artifacts here, so what I'm going to do is click the headphone on the compressor so I can hear exactly what's triggering the sidechain. And I'm just going to tweak the EQ like that, so I've got quite a bit of a knock. It doesn't matter what it sounds like because we're just triggering the EQ, we're just triggering the compressor. So I'm going to switch the headphone back off. And because we've got quite a sharp, quick attack now, I'm going to bring the release up on the compressor so it keeps hold for a little bit longer. And we're just being really subtle with this. We don't want to go too overboard. We just want it to duck out of the way of the kick just a little bit. So I'm going to leave the kick sidechain there, And I'm going to add another compressor. And this time I'm going to sidechain the snare. And you want the snare to sidechain, you want the bass to sidechain this out of the way of the snare less than the kick is. We don't need as much room for the bass when the snare's hitting. Then what I'm going to do is add an EQ. I'm just going to tidy up the low and the high. So a 12 dB slope's probably fine for the highs, especially on a bass like this. Now we still want that twang. It's quite a high twang that we still want to keep. So I don't want to cut too low. Okay, that's sounding nice. So let's move on to the pianos. So first of all, we've got the Rhodes. So I'm just going to bring up an EQ again, just to check the frequencies. I'm going to tidy it up a bit. Now for this piano, it only plays when there's not actually any bass playing. There's a bit of drums here, but that's just sort of shaker and the gyro. So we're looking at, we're not too bothered about cutting like all of the lows out. We still want a bit of low cutting through. There's not that much low detail in this anyway, but there's still a little bit. It's more mids. So I'm just going to cut it about 240, I should do. And clean up the high end. Now this saxophone's got quite a nice mid sound as well as the highs, so I don't want to cut too much of it out. And finally the scratch effects. Again, just cleaning up the high and the low end. So I don't want too much low end in this scratch effect, because on the drop, just before the bass comes in, I like to try and keep it quite minimal, so the bass has much more of an effect when it comes in. We don't want to cut too much out and ruin the sound. So what I'm going to do on these drums is put on a Pultec. This is the Waves version of the Pultec, the EQP1A. This is a stereo one, and I'm just going to add a little bit of weight to the low end. So I'm going to bring the gain down because I don't want it to add any volume. Maybe bring up these highs a little bit, around 8 to 10k. So I'm going to do the same with the bass. Only, not the stereo, I'm going to use the mono. So we're keeping our bass in mono. and I'm going to stick a compressor on the bass. Now I'm going to use my Drama external compressor. So I'm using it in mono. So what I'm going to do is just have quite a light compression on it. So what I'm doing is I've got about 2 to 3 dB of gain reduction. I've got about 0.5 release, and we want quite a high release, but not too high that it's not letting go of the sound before the next note hits. And attack, I've got about 20 milliseconds. Too quick of an attack and you lose the initial transient of the bass. And the ratio I've got on 3, sorry. So I'm just going to mix that down to audio now. So I'm going to record this track. And what I can do is just record this first half. I could have just recorded one section, but I've recorded this first half, and because the second half, the bass line is the same, we can just use that. I'm going to switch back over to no input, and I'm going to take the drama off the bass comp. I'm going to switch the bass comp off. The volume's back up again, so I'm just going to take this down to -6.9, which is what our bass was on. Okay, so it just so happens that my minus key is actually the key that stops the recording. So when I typed in -6.9, it stopped the recording. So what I've done is I brought the volume down, switched the bass comp off, and I'm just going to tweak the volume a little bit because it is a bit high. Maybe it's a bit low, we'll bring it up. That's sounding nice. So I'm just going to copy this over to the second half. Make sure it's lined up. Doesn't have to be exactly bang on because some imperfections will be nice for the track. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there for today. In part 3, we're going to look at some extra effects, just to give you some finishing touches before it gets mastered. If you like this video, please like and share, and remember to subscribe and ring the bell to keep up to date with future videos. Thanks for watching.